What? Show no emotion, so I can't lose. Ask Jesus to show I'm losing. What? Okay, I need to see. Be independent all the time is not working for me. I sacrifice my self-control to have people to lean. Holding emotions cause I'm scared of what they'll do to me. Okay, I need to see. I'm staying slow because it's scary to show people I bleed.
So back to identity. Um, I do believe that eventually I'll get around to doing like an about me, or who is Cam type of video or introduction. But in the meantime, I'm just using this platform right now to um, express myself, to express my creativity, practice and hone in on my creativity, share uh, the word, share my experiences and knowledge, and to find community, like-minded individuals who are on the same path, or who people who may be lost, or people who just, you know, uh, like the vibe, because there's so much more underneath, um, or behind what you're introduced to right now. Um, there's only so much that you can see. But I think as I become more comfortable with sharing, I'll begin to open up more and, peel back some layers and really uh, be vulnerable. I mean, I'm already being vulnerable right now, but like just for you to see me. So, and for me to see myself. I think that's one of the biggest things. Like, I haven't always taken the time to like see me, examine me, like evaluate me. So, this is me unpacking myself. That's what this journey is about: unpacking and learning, and getting to the essence of Cam. You know, what is the essence of Cam? So, I think I want to start with just the things that I feel like I've been bound by. The list is extensive. Just over the years, I've experienced being bound by these things. I'm not saying I'm still continually bound by these, because I'm being freed. I've been delivered. I am delivered. I've been delivered from a lot of these things, and some of these things I still struggle with. Um, Letting go and just transforming my mind and transforming my heart, and really just getting to a better place mentally, physically, spiritually. So I don't know where to begin, but my list is everywhere. You probably can't see any of this, but anyways, uh, I think I'm not. It's pointless for me to try to like memorize everything because I wrote it down for a reason. So I want to use this. Um, I took notes. I did some journaling and really tried to identify things that I've been bound by. So, being bound by the fear of vulnerability, really struggling to find safe places, spaces, um, sometimes people to open up to, in fear of like and judgment, or just the fear of being exposed in general. Like, man, like just to really allow somebody in my world, in my space, in my mind, in my heart, in my thoughts, in my mess. It's really hard to just be in a place to do that sometimes. But I've experienced some judgment and some rejection and some betrayal in my life that I'm still learning to let go of, to be at a point to just be vulnerable with people. Although sometimes you don't always want to share too much. But I guess like with the people that you want to be in your life, you just kind of have to do that. For a long time, I've doubted myself, uh, as well as I've doubted God. And I think with both of those, especially with God, my father was partially present in my life. He was incarcerated for a good portion of my life. I was still able to visit him and have phone conversations, but his physical presence wasn't there. So now that I'm learning about my heavenly father, it's kind of hard to wrap my mind around, like, you know, he's not physically there either, but just learning that he is with us in our heart and our minds, like his presence is here. But still, it's still so difficult sometimes to, like, it challenges my faith. I'm like, man, are you here? Because if you were, a lot of this stuff wouldn't happen. But I also have to change my mindset, because it's not always. It's not. It's a lot of times. It's just it's us. It's us. So um, I feel like I'm talking too fast because I'm a little nervous right now. But I've been bound by the fear of failing and the fear of success. Fear of failing is just like, dang, sometimes assuming the worst before it even happens, um, or just being paralyzed by decision making or paralyzed potential. That's gonna be another conversation for another day. But the fear of success. I had to ask my question. I had to ask myself a question one day, like, what if this all works out? And that scared me because I'm like, there's gonna be this type of responsibility that I might not be prepared for, or all of those, questions and thoughts that come to mind. Um, I've been bound by just having a lack of purpose, a lack of vision, and setting goals. For a long time, I just used to go on about world, just day to day. Whatever happens, happens. Not really making any real plans, not really setting any goals, intentions, or like staying um, consistent with stuff. I'm just like a free spirit out here in the world. And to a certain degree, that could be good, but um, on the other side, it's not entirely good. Uh, I've had to address my self unforgiveness. I am my biggest critic. I beat myself up so much, and I think that in turn makes me not one. I can't see myself for who I really am, and I doubt my self worth and stuff like that, or my self esteem. And I think in turn that also makes it hard for me to see people for who they are. Um, to see people for their worth and their value, because I'm constantly criticizing and judging myself or beating myself up or trying to be perfect, being bound by perfection, that it it bleeds out on other people. And that's not a, that's not a good thing. Um, and I've hurt some people, I've pushed some people away, I've it's just not good. So whew, um being bound by unforgiveness, bitterness, and resentment and anger. I noticed something about myself that the more I bottle up stuff, the more I hold on or try to suppress stuff, the more it builds up inside of me, and it creates grudge. It makes me have hold grudges toward people, be angry, and having this rage inside of me. Um, and if like you really know me, I feel like I'm assuming if people really know me, that you would say like, oh, Cam's cool, like he's not like he's chill, and I am. But I didn't know. I feel like the past few years, couple of years, I've noticed rage. I've expressed rage. I've let it come out of me, and that's in forms of punching walls. That came in forms of punching tables. That came in forms of yelling. Like, this is my voice. Uh, Usually every day. There, I do get excited. I do get excited, but like, this is my voice, and it has to take something very serious for me to raise my voice. And I don't yell. I don't like to yell. It doesn't feel right. But yeah. The next thing on here I have is, I think, societal pressures, like being masculine, being having to be strong, having to have it all together, having to be a leader is, I can be bound by, just like I said before, the perfection of that, the, the pressure of that, kind of holding me to a high standard of, like, I'm supposed to be doing this, I'm supposed to be doing that, I'm supposed to have it together, I'm supposed to have the answers, I'm supposed to know, I'm supposed to provide. Um, and that's something that I am still struggling with. Um, and it also kind of, it just it made me realize, like, it's like a control thing also. And just having to be strong all the time, but it also creates like depression. Um, so yeah, I think the next thing on the list we have the financial pressure, being bound by financial pressures. It creates a lot of stress. And for me, I used to be in a point to where I'm like, I have to work a lot because I'm not secure. Like, I found my security or my identity in my money. I found my security in my job, in my work. Like, I have to overwork to prove myself. Like, I'm a hard worker, no days off. And not being secure. Like, what if something happens? I just want to be financially secure to prevent myself from being broke. Don't nobody like being broke, right? Uh, the next thing I have is just from unhealed trauma. And that's just a whole entire thing to unpack. So I'm just gonna not go too deep into that, but traumas like rejection, and attachment issues, abandonment issues, and how they just affect relationships, self worth, and sometimes even the outlook on life, and trust issues, and being bound by immature mindset, selfishness, the inability to receive correction, because I used to feel like nobody can tell me anything. Like, what do you know, or just rejecting it in general. Like, because I don't want nobody to tell me anything. I got it, or I know already. I don't know. I don't always see myself or experience myself. But for someone, it's good to listen to people because they see you, even if the majority of people may have an experience of you. One person's experience of you could be completely opposite of the hundreds of people that you know. And for me, that was like, I didn't want to accept it because I'm like, I'm a good person. I'm a good person. I always want to be a good person. So for somebody to tell me I'm not a good person, I didn't want to receive that. Um, and I rejected it a lot. But there is a lot of truth in it also, because I started to see myself. I started to see things from their perspective. So, um, I think the last few things are just also regarding identity and being bound by things, is believing the false labels and things that people put on you, and even yourself, especially me, because I've said a lot of negative things about myself that maybe had some truth in them, but it it didn't define me. It was just a moment in my life, or it was a season of my life, or it was just a day in my life that I did this thing, and I can't find my identity in my past. I can't find my identity in a mistake that I made. But I've held on to those mistakes, and like I said before, I beat myself up so much. Um, yeah. So I think the last thing, the the last thing would be addictions. Being addicted to smoking, being addicted to drinking, being addicted to sex and pornography. That all of these things affect our lives in spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. Kind of giving like false expectations about stuff, being chemically imbalanced, not being able to see or think in your right mind, being intoxicated, being under the influence, to the level that I was at those times. Um, it became easy, and it became my coping mechanism to forget about the thing, or not wanting to feel what I feel, not wanting to address the things that were calling, that were like spilling and like protruding out of me. Um, it just wasn't, like I said, it was very easy to turn to these things. So it was easy to always have a drink. And I would find any reason to have a drink. It was very easy to roll one up, put one in the air. It felt good. It felt very good to smoke. Um, because I just forgot what I was going through, and it helped me be in a better mood. It helped with my creativity. Sometimes I found I started to justify the reasons why I wanted to smoke and felt like it was still a good thing for me. One of the major things, though, I was experienced to um, some sexual trauma at a young age, and I was exposed to pornography at a young age, and I thought it was normal for people to see these things or do these things. And now that I'm trying to heal from it, has been a challenge. All I can encourage y'all to do, um, find a better way, not to put yourself in a tempting situation. In a tempting situation, yeah, not a no. Don't put yourself in tempting situations. Um, because the more you grow out of certain friend groups, you grow out of certain environments, you grow out of certain mindsets and thought processes, grow out of certain feelings, certain habits, coping. There's a better way to do a lot of stuff. So I think I'm gonna wrap it up because I'm hungry and I want to enjoy the sunset a little more. So